Hi guys, I know I've been away for a little while with my interviews and stuff, but I've been working very hard behind the scenes. I've had a few, little things going on in real life. You know how it goes, them issues that you've got to deal with. But I'm back and I'm going to try and be um, a little bit more consistent with these little videos. I did upload a video yesterday. Unfortunately, the sounding was terrible. I had an all singing, all dancing recording studio, and I messed up with the sound, so nobody can hear what I'm saying. So I'm sorry. I'm back in my home, back in my, little setup that I've got. I'm in a different room today. But yes, today I'm going to be trying to reiterate what I said yesterday regarding male privilege. Now, I've been having a few discussions with people over the last couple of weeks about this. And really, it's just been kind of focusing on the way men and women's roles are presented in society, especially in the Western world. I mean, um, I'm not gonna make out like, it's the worst thing that's ever happened, but it's definitely something that I think that we need to deal with in the Western society, just to kind of empower women. Anyone who knows me knows that I've been about women empowerment for a very long time. And I think it is very important for us to understand the different dynamics that happen between men and women, and how sometimes things need to be kind of addressed so that we can improve ourselves and improve the next generation. So, some of the things that I may say may be a bit controversial. You're happy to put your comments down in the comment section below, or obviously if I share this to social media, I'm happy to have a discussion. And if anybody would like to have a discussion or a debate about the things that I'm saying, just hit me up and I will make it happen. I'll bring you on the platform and make that happen. So yeah, this is called male privilege, and how I think it kind of affects us in society today. Now, the first thing that I kind of noticed, especially even growing up and, seeing how people engage in relationships, I noticed that men are always kind of seen as, if they're seeing a lot of different women, or they're kind of living a life of infidelity or not really committing to one person, it's not seen as like anything necessarily bad. In actual fact, it's seen as something that men do on a regular base, well, not on a regular basis, but it's seen as normal for a man. And even their friends and stuff will kind of like brush it off, and it'll be like, well, it's a, men are called gallus, or they play the field, or all those types of things. But for a woman who would engage in the same activities, would be called names like, slut, hoe, whatever, you find the relevant name for you. Um, but a woman that engages in seeing several men at a time, or, not faithful to one person, or, engaging in different kinds of relationships, it's not seen as, a kind of hit thing. Now, I'm not condoning this type of behavior at all. All I'm saying is that there is no equality in terms of what a man does and what a woman does. And when we start to have the issues with this now is when we're raising children, because we kind of teaching boy children that, if they're looking at role models of men, they're looking at role models of men that are engaging in these types of things, and they kind of think that it's normal to do. Whereas women, girls are kind of taught to kind of find that knight in shining armor kind of thing. And when that doesn't happen, it can be quite detrimental for the girl growing up, having her heart broken and all those types of things. So we've really got to look at, because I'm always looking about the next generation, and how we can improve ourselves. So we cannot be allowing this disparity between men and women, and how we're raising our children, our boys, to be just seeing loads of women. And even if we're not actively encouraging it, by allowing it to happen is still kind of giving your authority on those types of behavior. So I just think that we need to call this out when it's happening. We need to call out. I've seen situations of men in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s that are still unable to like maintain a relationship, or being able to remain faithful in a relationship. And I think it's something that is learnt down the line. And we're increasingly coming to a more promiscuous society where it's okay for women to do this too. And like I said, I'm not engaging in this. I'm not saying that this activity is the right way forward. I'm totally against all those types of things. But at the end of the day, we have to come to a kind of disparity, and we have to, reason with these types of behavior, and call it out when it's happening. So another thing that I wanted to talk about, and I think this kind of affects me a lot as well, is women are always judged by the way that they look. If you're not a size 8, and you haven't got like perfect skin and perfect hair and all those types of things, your face doesn't fit. It doesn't fit in the job market. It doesn't fit. You're not desirable. It doesn't fit in media, beauty, whatever. And we need to kind of take set of this, take set of people kind of empowering, being healthy, and not just fitting into the stereotypes of what is considered beautiful. We also need to stop judging people in terms of what they choose to do. If they decide that they want to wear makeup, or they don't want to wear makeup, it's really a woman's right. And a woman is not necessarily dressing or adorning herself just to impress men. Like, at the end of the day, sometimes it's done just to make the woman feel good about herself. And I find that men are very judgmental. Like, they always want to tell you how you should wear your hair. You shouldn't wear those type of clothing because it's seen as that you're trying to show yourself to be something that you're not, and whatever. And I think that like women should actually be empowered to do what feels comfortable to themselves, because at the end of the day, it's like when we talk about victims of like rape or harassment or all those types of things, like, are we saying that they are bringing this on themselves because of the way that they are dressed or what they look? What about the person that is perceiving that and cannot like walk away, or cannot say, even if you think something looks beautiful or looks nice, shouldn't you have the power to turn around and say, well, actually, yeah, it looks nice, but I'm just going to look, and I'm not going to go any further than that? That's what we need to be dealing with. And another point is, a man can really wear what he wants and get away with it. A man can take off his shirt as soon as the sun comes up and it's a little bit sunny, and he's not seen as, oh, like he's trying to be sexual or anything like that. Men can get away with things like that. Whereas as soon as you see a little bit of skin on a woman, then you're ready to judge her. And again, if we're coming to a situation in society where we are not going to, we're not going to judge somebody just because of what they look like or what kind of clothes they have on, then we've got to deal with these types of issues. I mean, I'll put this out right here. I'm not a feminist. The feminist movement, it has some benefits to it, but I think it also has things that are not so good about it. I believe in equality in the sense of I always like to liken it to a short person and a tall person. Now, if you've got a short person and you've got a tall person and they're both trying to look over a fence, obviously the tall person is going to be able to see better than the short person. So if the short person is given a stool to stand on so that he's now equal to the tall person, that is what I call equality. So in some situations, some people may deem to, be given more of an opportunity. It's almost like positive discrimination in terms of workforces. There's some areas, especially things like policing and areas that need to be engaged with the public, where there is definitely like there's not enough women in it. There's not enough, um, you know, um, ethnic minorities. I don't like that word. I'll probably do a video about that another day. But there's not enough, disparity of people, and yeah, so there's positive discrimination in terms of actually seeking out these people and encouraging them to apply for certain jobs. So, well, I'm saying all that to kind of say that in terms of like feminism, sometimes when people are not given equal rights for things that are clearly like it doesn't make any sense why they can't be equal, like voting or, being able to earn the same amount of money in doing exactly the same job. Um, I think it's important that we are kind of given a bit of a leg up just so that we actually end up being equal to that person, to the men. Um, so yeah, I would say in terms of feminism and that kind of stuff, and also like a lot of people have said to me like, excuse me, it's not positive to promote independent women, and I think that okay, we would like to go back to like a positive family structure because obviously the family has been eradicated over the last couple of years. I agree with that. However, if we are living in a society where men are not able or willing to play their roles, i.e., having a lot of single mothers. The single mothers didn't make the babies by themselves. So therefore, if men are not willing to support their children and look after their children, then women have to be empowered to actually be able to look after themselves and look after their children. And that's not just an easy feat. People think like it's just something simple. It's not simple. Like the life of a mother is very hard, and I will go into that later on down the line. So to empower a woman to be independent because she has to be is not a negative thing. And men who keep on going on about this, they need to step up to the plate. And if they're not in a situation where they can be empowering a woman or doing their role for a woman or their role in society or whatever the case may be, then they know somebody who is not doing their role, and they should take the stand and empower their brothers to say, yeah, you need to be doing what you need to be doing. So that's what I would say to that. Another thing that I've noticed is that women are kind of looked down upon as being authority figures. And when I say authority figures, I mean it could be like leaders, teachers, spiritual leaders, CEOs of companies, all those types of things. I mean, like I live in England, so we have a female prime minister and we have a female queen. So we can see that women can do the job pretty fine. And this is our second female prime minister. Not saying that the first one was, she didn't do everything perfectly the way that maybe I would have liked her to do. But at the end of the day, she did her job in it. So let's not try and make out like women can't do certain things because they definitely can. But then we see what happened in America. I mean, people have their views of whatever, but a lot of the reasons why Hillary Clinton wasn't voted into office is because people didn't trust a woman to be a president. So we need to kind of look at this and check ourselves, because women are they're very good at being leaders, and they're very good at being like CEOs of company and whatever. Statistics show that women are generally better in finances and in some forms of just critical thinking and all those types of stuff. So women can do the jobs as well as men. So like I said, I'm not a feminist. I'm not saying I want everything should be equal down the line, whatever, because I also do believe that we all play roles in society. But I'm also saying that um we kind of get looked down upon when we're put into kind of leadership positions. And I find it hard sometimes to even like negotiate or feel that I'm on the same par as certain men, because they look down on me as a woman. And sometimes even in conversations or discussions, like my points get dismissed because I'm deemed as a woman. So I think all of these things need to stop. And this is what I'm talking about with male privilege, because a lot of times men don't even realize that they have a privilege over women. And sometimes it needs to be identified, and somebody just needs to point out to them. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be in a like a kind of argumentative way. It's just kind of pointing that point out. Um, and also, the next thing, like I said, I was going to go on to motherhood. Now, there is a it's very hard when you become a mother. It's very hard because instantly, as soon as you've had a baby and you take a couple of months off to look after that child, your career is halted. Um, you might not necessarily get back into the same position, or your job might not be held for you, if you're in that kind of career. Or you may have to take out a couple of years out of working if that's what you decide to do, or you may just stop working altogether. That's what you decide to do. It's really up to it's up to you, and what you can basically afford, and what you decide to do with your children. No answer is a right or wrong answer, but we um we kind of get stuck because women are judged a lot when they become mothers, and especially if they go back to work, because they already feel the pressure of being a mother and leaving their baby or their child to go to work, knowing that somebody else is looking after them all day, or even if they start school, whatever the case may be. Yeah, they're already feeling guilty for that, so nobody doesn't have to put any guilt on them. Then they have to go to work and put in 110% in their job, because not only will they be assessed and looked down upon because they're a woman, but now that they're a mother, they're going to be like, well, is women with children really a viable source for us as what as an employee or whatever, employer, sorry. Are they viable to us? Are they going to cost us too much money? Are they going to take a lot of time off work? Do you understand what I'm saying? So there's all that pressure building. I mean, there's a quote that I'm going to get off my phone. I should have prepared it before, but it just occurred to me to bring it up again. And I think this quote kind of like it just brings up everything really. To what I'm trying to say in regards to mothers. Now, it's a quote by Annabel Crabb, and it says the obligation for working mothers is a very precise one. The feeling that one ought to work as if one did not have children, while raising one's children as if one did not have a job. And that just kind of puts it very succinctly, really. It's it's hard. It's hard for women, even, and don't get me twisted, I'm not just talking about like single mothers or anything like that, even women in relationships and marriages and anything like that. You're still expected, your day starts a lot earlier than people without children or even men. because you're preparing the breakfast, you're making sure the kids are ready for school or nursery, you're making sure that everyone looks half decent before they get out the door, you're making, then you've got the added pressure that you have to look a certain way, so you can't just drag on clothes. You have to make sure your hair's done, you have to make sure if you're wearing makeup, you have to make sure all that's done. So that's all that pressure, and that's before you even get to work. Then you get to work, you have to put on all that, have to work hard in the job, prove yourself in the job. Then you come home and your day is not done. You've got dinner to cook. You've got, you may have clothes to wash. You've got cleaning to do. You've got children to bathe. All of that. So, and even a woman who doesn't work, don't think that her day is just spent just relaxing and doing anything, doing nothing, because like babies, children, whatever, you will tidy up and they will go behind you and wreck everything that you've done. Sometimes I feel like when I'm at home, more work just gets added on. Like I wish sometimes I was away from home, because then I feel like I would have less stuff to do. So it's all of those types of things that I think men need to really understand, because I know a lot of men that are married men that have children, they don't even understand what their wives are going through, because they just get up and go to work and they come back whenever, and like sometimes dinner is expected on the table. And don't get me wrong either, I've seen a lot of people who they kind of work out things together, and they take turns with jobs, and getting the children ready, doing dinner, whatever works for you is what works for you, and I'm not disputing that at all. But what I'm saying is that just remember that for the woman, the onus is on that woman regardless of what happens. So I've known a lot of times, even me going to work or colleagues going to work, and their child is ill and they really wish that they could stay at home with their child, but they just can't. All of these things, like, is really hard. So I'm just making sure that I've gone through all of my points, as I wasn't as prepared today as I was yesterday, because I had everything lined out. So yeah, judged. I think that's all the points that I wanted to make.